That would be ingenious. If d4 is a winning king and pawn endgame, but he instead goes king f6 because the outside pass pawn, we've talked about this in previous games, that if you did trade rooks, white would have this h5 push at the right moment.
1 second. Robert, he's just lost 20 tempi. Like, what did he do? Why did he not take on b4 that looked completely winning? Now this one should just be a draw.
It looks like an easy draw. 3-on-2 on one side, a pass pawn on the other, but the rook stands behind the pass pawn. Benjamin, that was weird. We're not used to seeing Magnus spend so much time like that in positions with great winning chances.
Exactly, yeah. Now, I guess he's just going to
wait,
go...
he lost on time!
He lost on time?
And look at Jan's face. He's in disbelief, and Magnus is furious. What was he thinking about?
I don't know what happened. Here's the thing, Robert. Maybe he wanted to play rook a1 to h1, but the move is so far across the board that it took him too long to make the move.
That's very possible. And whatever it was, Magnus is not a happy camper. For Magnus Carlsen, he's crushing it right now. But what is this?
I think this is known to be a lost variation, but nobody knows like how to actually refute this. You take on g2, white has to give up their rook and gets a strong attack in return, but you have to know what you're doing here with white.
And the knight is coming to f4 into g6. That's clearly the plan. But can't black play rook takes h7 and then run the king to g8?
You can, yeah.
And look at Magnus. He is not liking the way he's playing because he just saw rook takes h7.
Exactly, and we see here the evil bar is in the middle, so it feels like Magnus did not play in the precise way, and now it's all the way down. So actually, this has worked out brilliantly for Jan Nepomniachtchi. He played a dubious opening, but a very provocative one. He made Magnus prove it. Magnus didn't know how to punish black, and now, after queen takes h7, I think black's just winning. It should liquidate into an endgame.
That's a beautiful tactic in black's favor, and Jan Nepomniachtchi finds it. And look at Magnus, he kind of gives that face of, yeah, good. How are you stopping these passers?
I don't see it. Just go rook f2 here. Jan can go after the pawn on a4, but it will be super slow. Look at this, Robert. Jan is up a pawn, but his majority on the queen side is completely frozen. His rook on h3 is frozen. His king on b1 is completely stuck. This is a dominant position for Magnus Carlsen.
And what is he aiming for? It's black's turn. King to e3, just winning the f3, but it's rook h5, potentially. So you need to be a little bit precise here. He plays e4 because it's, again, not about the quantity. It's about the quality. The f-pawn is hard to stop.
Exactly, yeah. It's very difficult to make a move here for Jan. If you go rook to h8, then Magnus can now go rook g2, followed by f2. And you can't quite stop that pawn. You can't also create any counterplay over here. Again, you're completely frozen on the queen side. So Magnus looks to be on his way to another victory here.
Magnus Carlsen, the best endgame player of all time, adding another one to his storybook career. Uh-oh, time is of the essence.
Wait, did he slip again?
Why would you play rook b5 there instead of rook takes b4? That was a free pawn.
Maybe he wants to go d4 and trade off the rooks?
That would be ingenious. If d4 is a winning king and pawn endgame, but he instead goes king f6 because the outside pass pawn, we've talked about this in previous games, that if you did trade rooks, white would have this h5 push at the right moment.
1 second. Robert, he's just lost 20 tempi. Like, what did he do? Why did he not take on b4 that looked completely winning? Now this one should just be a draw.
It looks like an easy draw. 3-on-2 on one side, a pass pawn on the other, but the rook stands behind the pass pawn. Benjamin, that was weird. We're not used to seeing Magnus spend so much time like that in positions with great winning chances.
Exactly, yeah. Now, I guess he's just going to
go... Wait, he lost on time!
He lost on time?
And look at Jan's face. He's in disbelief, and Magnus is furious. What was he thinking about?
I don't know what happened. Oh, he goes for it. He wins King of the Hill. He wins King of the Hill. And yeah, you can end the game.
Yeah, that's done. King of the Hill. We got this. But the king on e5 is somehow safe enough because queen c3 check, there's d4, and the king will scurry back to f6. And the f5 knight actually is hanging after queen c3. So what a decision from Magnus. He's getting away with it.
Yeah, king f6, and now he's completely safe. Knight d4, do not take this after queen takes d4. Your king is in a deadly check, but maybe rook e8, defend the knight, and if he gets a king to g7, it's just over. Rook to c8, perhaps aiming to set his pawns in motion, but for now you can't, as it will hang the pawn on d5. And with the move bishop to g5, Magnus is actually creating that threat. Oh,
rook takes
he
c5.
edged the pawn.
Yes, because it wasn't available a move ago, because rook g6 would have been check. There's no check against the white king. The rook on c8 is loose. Now Magnus, he can go from a position where he was worse to potentially one where he could try to outplay Jan, although with bishops of opposite color, this realistically should just be a simple draw.
But h5 was a great move there. h5 again, instead of, because you cannot take. Okay, now...
Yeah, he's setting up h5. Now h5 is a big threat.
Right, so king e8 therefore by Jan. Okay, so now we have h5. A couple moves to let Jan just takes it. Okay, king g3. This game, probably a draw, but it can still go either way with both players getting a long time.
And here comes the f-pawn. I said they weren't good, but pawn f...
Oh, rook
rook g4 takes g5!
Wow, what a blunder. And rook takes f5 is just a game, because you can... Wow, and Jan Nepomniachtchi takes the first game, Robert. Now, Jan is up a pawn. I don't like what he did, though, trading voluntarily and going bishop e5. He loses a lot of time. I think he should have just gone like bishop d7. But now his queen is under attack. This rook can swing all the way over to h4, and this looks super unpleasant, Robert.
And h6, he's going alpha 0 style. That queen has to go to h8 for... Oh my gosh, the king is just getting mated. The knight d5, rook knight e7. This is so miserable.
This is tough. I mean, where do you even go with the queen? If you take on b2, maybe a rook b4. The queen has to leave the diagonal, and when you do, there's going to be queen d4, and white has to be winning there. This looks tough. This looks tough.
Yeah, there's going to be a rook take on e8, knight f6 check. Everything is hanging there. So he goes knight d6 at long last. Is even material, and white's king is much, much safer.
And look at this rook b4. The rook is coming up to b6. This pawn on b7 is super weak. Magnus can now just take it. He's going to take on b7, take on a6, and then all of a sudden he will have 3 connected passes on the queen.
Credit, because he kept this very competitive in the blitz, and then Magnus was able to run away with it down the stretch here in bullet.
Exactly, yeah, Magnus playing... I would say Magnus is playing at his level, or maybe even a little bit beyond it. Jan, however, we talked about this before the match. If he wants to give himself a chance, he cannot lose games unnecessarily. But he did have a few blunders here and there, and yeah, as we see, then you're just going to have a tough day at the office against Magnus.
Every day is probably a tough day against Magnus Carlsen, and in this position, Magnus is stealing the queen side. He took b7, a6 is going to be loose with that knight on c7.
There goes
I have his queen! Oh my goodness, Magnus just forgot a knight could capture his queen.
And a Botez Gambit in the Speed Chess Championship. Who would have thought, Robert?
Not Magnus Carlsen, but he has a bad history of the a6 and c7 squares. Because a year ago, when he was playing Hikaru Nakamura, I